Hello everyone, I am Sunita Khod, Research Scholar at Divya Drishti Imaging Lab, Department of Physics, IIT Roorkee. My topic for today's presentation is characterization of 3D printers using X-ray CT. So in this context, I will briefly explain that how we can characterize different 3D printed samples using X-ray CT. So, in this context, I will briefly explain that why 3D printing is used at such a faster rate and how we can check the quality of 3D printed samples by determining surface roughness and porosity present in the 3D printed samples. So, the 3D printing is used everywhere today, from the manufacturing of toys to the prototyping of automobiles. But the question arises that why it is utilized at such a faster rate and at, on a large scale. Initially, we used conventional process of manufacturing. The conventional process of manufacturing includes casting, molding, joining, and forming. And in these processes, we need to assemble different components in order to achieve the final part. But this is not the case in the case of 3D printing technology. By utilizing the 3D printing technology, we can print any complex shaped sample or part in a single run, and we need not to assemble different components. So in this way, time is also saved and we can fabricate any complex shaped part, and we can also customize different parts according to the customer needs. And so 3D printing technology is a good choice these days. Therefore, the motivation of our study is that it's okay we are using 3D printing technology, but the 3D printed sample are not accurate. Means the 3D printed sample may deviate from the actual design and geometry of the part. Therefore, an inspection of or evaluation of quality of 3D printed sample is necessary in order to uh, turn it useless. So the 3D printed sample carries defects, means there are voids present in the sample and the location of voids coincides with the location of failure. Therefore an inspection is necessary, and this inspection we can do by using the quality check and by utilizing the X-ray CT technology. Also, the defects present in the sample depends upon different printing parameters such as printing speed, layer height, infill density, and infill pattern. Therefore, we can also see that how the amount of defects present in a particular sample varies as a function of these printing parameters. Therefore, we also check that what is a what is the print optimal printer setting for printing the final 3D printed sample. So let us see what is 3D printing. 3D printing is a technology to create 3D object of any shape from its CAD model. And in the 3D printing process, the object is created by depositing successive layers of material by depositing success layers of material. So the 3D printing process includes three steps. First is the CAD design. We have to CAD model the sample which we want to print. Shown is the shown is the video of CAD designing of a cuboid or the sample which I 3D printed. And after CAD designing, we need to set the printing parameters such as what should be the printing speed, what should be the resolution, infill pattern, infill density. And after setting printing parameters, we convert it into G code file and upload it into the 3D printer. And the 3D printer works in a manner that the material is filled in the form of filament in the nozzle of the 3D printer. The material is heated in the nozzle and then deposited layer by layer under computer control, and and the object is fabricated, um, so, and we all know that 3D printing is used everywhere from medical to aerospace. It is also used in prototyping, it is used in fashion, food, construction, games, radiation shielding, and many more. So, and we all are familiar with the X-ray computed tomography. It is a non-destructive technique to visualize the inside of a material in 3D. That is, we can look inside the material without cutting or destroying it with the help of X-ray computed tomography. It works on the principle of Lambert-Beer's law, and this is the showing X-ray CT machine available at our DD imaging lab, and which we utilized for characterizing different 3D printed samples. So we all know that by using X-ray CT we can look inside an sample without cutting or destroying it. So we utilized it for our different 3D printed samples. How we can characterize that? We can check for the defects present, we can check for the printed dimension, we can check the roughness in the printed sample, and we can also check the density measurement. In our study, we determined the surface roughness and porosity present in different 3D printed samples. So how we do it? That firstly we can design two samples. In first sample we manually inserted cubical voids. In second sample we inserted combination of spherical and cubical voids. We inserted it because we want to see that which printer is able to print the inserted voids and which is not able to print. And after CAD designing, we varied different printing parameters. We did the printer settings such that we varied layer height, nozzle speed, infill density, and infill pattern. And then we printed from four different 3D printers, and after that we did X-ray CT, we did 3D analysis, determined roughness and porosity, and check the quality. So showing is the different 3D printed samples from four different 3D printers. The four different 3D printers used are Project, Delta Wave, Praise E2, and Ultimaker. The resolution of Project is 16 micron, Delta Wave 15 micron, Praise E2 15 micron, Ultimaker 20 micron. And we printed at different printer setting. Table 1 is showing different printer setting we used. So after 3D printing, we CT scanned the all the samples, and then using a reconstructed software. Then using reconstructed software, we reconstructed 2D slices, and then using volume rendering, we created 3D volume of the sample. and uh, and then we analyzed the structure, inside structure, or the shape of the voids, and we found out that that the project printed the exact size of the voids which we inserted, but this is not the case for other 3D printers. The voids printed by Delta Wave, Praise E2, and Ultimaker are somewhat distorted, or not, or we can say that are not of exact shape. Showing is the same, both sample 1 and sample 2 printed from all the four 3D printers, and the setting is resolution is 15 micron, nozzle speed is 30 mm per second, infill density is 100, infill pattern is grid. We kept nozzle temperature to 20 degrees Celsius, nozzle diameter 0.4 mm, bed temperature 45 degrees Celsius. And this is showing qualitative analysis, that is we can see how defects are distorted in the case of database but not so in the case of project. First one is showing the shape of the voids printed by database. Second is showing the shape of the voids printed by project. We can see that the shape of the voids printed by database is distorted, that is not exact cubical. Amount of a certain amount of roughness is present, but the project is printing fine quality voids, that is fine shape voids. And then we uh, did the surface roughness and porosity analysis using MATLAB. We determined the roughness and porosity in different slices using MATLAB code. What we define surface roughness is the deviation from the actual dimension of the object, that is there is some uh, error in the dimension of the sample printed, and there are voids apart from the inserted voids. First is showing the roughness, surface roughness plot. Second is saying the presenting minimum porosity in different sample. And we found out that maximum roughness and porosity are present in Ultimaker and minimum in case of project, followed by delta wasp and rage. Same is the case for porosity. Minimum porosity in project, maximum in case of Ultimaker, and followed by raise, E2 and delta wasp. We can also I also this is also showing the printer setting corresponding to the surface roughness. In case of sample one printed from delta was first printer setting listed in sample 1 is the optimal setting. For sample 2, third printer setting. And for raise e2, sample 1, for both the samples second printer setting is good, and for Ultimaker first printer setting is the optimal setting. In case of project, it works in different modes. So XHD mode is the optimal setting, means minimum surface roughness and porosity are present in the samples. So in this way we can also determine or check that at which optimal setting minimum roughness and porosity are present in a particular sample. So the conclusion of our study is that project is printing best quality sample. However, we see that the surface roughness and porosity is the order of surface roughness and porosity is such that a project is minimum, followed by delta wasp, praise e2 and Ultimaker. And if we see the maintenance cost, annual cost and printing time, then we can say that delta wasp is proves to be a good 3D printer. And also the optimal setting for printing, for the optimal setting which comes out for our 3D printed samples is for 50 micron resolution, 30 mm per second nozzle speed, 100% infill density. And the wall work is done at the wall work of 3D printing is done at Tinkering Lab, IIT Roorkee, at which different 3D printing printers are available. So and I would like to thank Tinkering Lab staff Mr. Sehwaj and Mr. Yashpal Singh. I also like to thank my supervisor Mayank Goswami and my second author Professor Akshay Dwivedi. Thank you.